They say the housing market always bounces back, but some cities miss the memo. Across America, once booming neighborhoods are now ghost listings. The same homes that sparked bidding wars in 2021 are begging for offers today, 60% off and falling faster than a crypto chart. It's not just small towns either. We're talking about big names, cities that were can't-miss investments a year ago, now haunted by for-sale signs and desperate sellers. From Florida's sun-soaked coastlines to Silicon Valley's forgotten suburbs, these are the places where optimism met interest rates and lost. By the end, you'll see which cities are still falling and which ones might never recover. Hit like before the next price cut hits the news. Subscribe. It's cheaper than catching a falling market. Boise, Idaho. From Zoomtown to Doomtown. Boise was once the poster child of pandemic-era gold rushes. Californians selling one-bedroom condos for big profit, then buying full houses here for mountain views and yards. Fast forward, owning the same dream home now often means paying more than it's worth. Home prices in the region peaked at $600,000 for the dream house, and now the talk is around $250,000 for sympathetic offers in some segments, landing you a 55% drop in value. You've seen the surge: migration, remote work honeymoon, bidding wars. Then the reality: rent dropped 6.2% recently. Vacancy rates jumped from 1.99% to 7.97% in parts of the metro. The Zoomtown shine is fading. Developers bought land thinking the boom would last forever. One project for 104 units still sits as an empty lot. Open houses are soft. Those free cookies? No takers. Suburban lawns show more for sale than BBQ smoke. And a Redditor hit it on the nose. We priced ourselves out, then back in, now nobody's left. And if Boise's bubble burst, wait till you see the city that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Austin, Texas. Tech layoffs crushed the hype. Austin was supposed to be the future, the Silicon Hills of Texas, the city where Tesla's outnumbered teachers, and every startup founder swore they'd retire by 30. But then the layoffs hit, and suddenly condos that once sold for $700,000 are begging for offers under $400,000. That's a 40 to 60% collapse depending on the neighborhood. And yes, the music stopped long before the rent did. Median home prices hover around $460,000, rents around $1,900, and the cost of living sits at $119, which feels higher when your tech job becomes a former tech job. The startup scene cooled, venues closed, and one local joked, "You can buy a house or start a band, both end broke." Now the city's vibe feels like a hangover after the world's most expensive music festival. You drive past colorful murals and half-empty food truck parks where realtors hand out tacos instead of brochures, pretending the beat hasn't dropped. The skyline's still shiny. It's just missing the people who could afford to live under it. And if you thought Austin's fall was bad, wait till you see the desert dream that just went bust. Phoenix, Arizona, Airbnb boom gone bust. You remember when everyone and their cousin wanted a Phoenix Airbnb? The city turned into one big suburban resort. Infinity pools, pastel walls, and desert chic everything. Investors thought they'd found paradise. But paradise got a 45% price sunburn. Median homes that peaked at $750,000 now hover around $415,000, and short-term rental occupancy tanked 20%. It's a ghost town of half-cleaned Airbnbs, empty pools, faded flamingo floats, and HOA presidents with 1,000-yard stares. You can rent one for $1,600 a month or just shoot your own "I lost it all in real estate" documentary there. The worst part? Locals warned everyone. They said, "This isn't the beach, it's the desert." Turns out the economy got the message too. You walk past for sale signs rattling in the wind, and the only thing still hot is the pavement. Phoenix dried up, but Florida's about to flood, financially. Tampa, Florida, hurricane risk meets insurance shock. Tampa used to sell sunshine and saltwater dreams. Now it's selling discounted disaster zones. Those $500,000 coastal homes that made influencers drool, you can snag them for around $280,000. If you can find an insurance company that hasn't ghosted Florida yet. Premiums are up 400%, and locals joke their flood policy costs more than their car, phone, and therapy bills combined. It's gorgeous, don't get me wrong. Palm trees still sway, beaches still sparkle, but the roofs? Mostly tarps. Even longtime residents say, forget a mortgage. You can't even afford protection. Median home prices have slipped to about $385,000, and cost of living is bigger than Kanye's ego. But it's not the bills that scare people. It's the next storm season. You walk through a quiet neighborhood, smell salt and mildew, and feel the tension in the air. And if Tampa's sinking, Nashville's about to hit a sour note. Nashville, Tennessee. Investors gone, music stopped. Do you still remember when every YouTuber and their cousin was moving to Nashville? Yeah, they've all moved out. Those sleek $700,000 flips that once screamed passive income are now whispering $350,000 or best offer. Median homes hover around $410,000, down 50%, and even the Airbnbs can't find weekend warriors anymore. Locals joke, we've got more guitars than buyers, and it's not far off. Investors who once sang about cash flow are now humming the blues. Rent sits near $1,800, but good luck covering that when the bachelorette parties stopped coming. Walk down Broadway now. The neon still glows, but the bars sound emptier. You can almost hear the echo of a market that got too loud too fast. Nashville used to be Music City. Now it's just background noise and a housing hangover. And if you think Nashville hit a low note, wait till you see Denver's frozen market. Denver, Colorado, sky-high mortgages froze the market. Charlotte was supposed to be the next big thing. Shiny new suburbs, corporate relocations, and coffee shops multiplying faster than houseplants during lockdown. Well, that chapter's over. Today, rows of brand new homes sit empty. $450,000 builds begging for $300,000 offers. Median price? Around $360,000, down roughly 40%. Rents hovering near $1,700. But good luck finding anyone signing leases when half the new hires got laid off. Developers are slashing prices and pretending it's a limited time incentive, while those now selling flags look more like white flags of surrender. It's not a housing market anymore. It's a clearance event. Developers are slashing prices and pretending it's a limited time incentive, while those now selling flags look more like white flags of surrender. It's not a housing market anymore. It's a clearance rack. Drive through the edges of town and you'll see it yourself. Muddy lots, fresh paint still drying, and silence where hammers used to echo. The promise of next big suburbia now feels like an unfinished song. Too many houses, not enough paychecks. And if Charlotte's ghosting, Salt Lake's about to start pedaling backward? Hard. Charlotte, North Carolina, new suburbs, no buyers. Charlotte was supposed to be the next big thing. Shiny new suburbs, corporate relocations, and coffee shops multiplying faster than houseplants during lockdown. Well, that chapter's over. Today, rows of brand new homes sit empty. $450,000 builds begging for $300,000 offers. Median price? Around $360,000, down roughly 40%. Rents hovering near $1,700. But good luck finding anyone signing leases when half the new hires got laid off. Developers are slashing prices and pretending it's a limited time incentive, while those now selling flags look more like white flags of surrender. It's not a housing market anymore. It's a clearance event, and developers are slashing prices and pretending it's a limited time incentive, while those now selling flags look more like white flags of surrender. It's not a housing market anymore. It's a clearance rack. Drive through the edges of town and you'll see it yourself. Muddy lots, fresh paint still drying, and silence where hammers used to echo. The promise of next big suburbia now feels like an unfinished song. Too many houses, not enough paychecks. And if Charlotte's ghosting, Salt Lake's about to start pedaling backward hard. Salt Lake City, Utah. Remote workers moved back. Salt Lake City looked unstoppable during the pandemic, a magnet for Bay Area techies chasing mountains and cheaper mortgages. Now the hype has a hangover. Homes that peaked at $470,000 are down to $300,000, a 50% plunge, and rents hover around $1,600 while condos sit empty. Developers built fast, buyers vanished faster. Tech layoffs didn't help, and the dream of a bustling remote work hub fizzled as people packed up and left. Step outside downtown and the contrast hits you. Crisp mountain air, snow-dusted peaks, and for rent signs flapping in empty streets. The vibe is scenic but eerily quiet, like a postcard with no people in it. And if Salt Lake froze over, wait till you see what happens when Vegas melts. Las Vegas, Nevada. Foreclosure roulette returns. Vegas is back at it. This time the house isn't winning. Median home prices tumbled from $420,000 to $250,000, a 60% drop, and rents linger around $1,700, while foreclosures spike 40%. The city built on spectacle and risk now looks like a cautionary postcard. Walk past the strip and the contrast is striking. Neon lights still flash, desert heat presses down, and half-finished condos sit silent, a frozen gamble. Locals joke, what happens in Vegas gets repoed, and investors are feeling deja vu from 2008. Step into the suburbs and it's eerily quiet. Lots that were supposed to boom now whispering neglect. The energy is still flashy but hollow, like a magician packing up early. And if Vegas rolled snake eyes, wait till you see Spokane quietly slipping off the map. Spokane, Washington, pandemic dream homes now underwater. Spokane looked like the perfect post-pandemic escape. Small city charm, forests, and a bargain for anyone fleeing big city rent. But the median home plummeted from $370,000 to $230,000, a 38% drop, while rents linger at $1,400 and supply far outpaces demand. The city that once felt like a quiet goldmine now hums with empty streets and for sale signs. Locals joke, we had our 15 minutes and 15 months of price drops, while realtors wonder if they're running a ghost tour instead of open houses. Step outside and you feel it. Evergreen quiet, abandoned cul-de-sacs, and deer strolling like they own the place. The pandemic fantasy has turned into a slow-motion retreat, with everyone hoping someone, anyone, will bite before the market sinks further. And if Spokane's fading, wait till you see the so-called stable metros that are suddenly crumbling under their own hype. But wait, before we go to the next city, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the wildest housing crashes unfolding across the US. Orlando, Florida. Tourism rebound didn't save housing. You'd think the happiest place on earth would mean happy homeowners too, right? Not exactly. Orlando's market is like a Disney ride that broke mid-loop. Houses that went for $500,000 during the boom are now struggling to sell for $290,000, a 40% to 45% nosedive since 2022. Sure, the parks are packed again, but locals are packing moving trucks. Drive through the suburbs and you'll see palm trees swaying beside price-reduced signs like they're waving goodbye to your equity. Insurance premiums have doubled, property taxes climbed, and rents hanging around $1,900. Mickey's still smiling, but homeowners? They're just hoping the next firework isn't from another foreclosure notice. And if Orlando's magic faded this fast, wait till you see the Texas city where optimism crashed even harder and faster. Dallas, Texas. Builders offload empty inventories. Dallas looked unstoppable. Cranes everywhere. New suburbs popping up faster than Texas BBQ joints. But when the music stopped, half the chairs were still empty. Developers are now slashing prices 30 to 50% just to move inventory. Median home price, around $410,000 and still falling. Rents at $1,850, but even that's cooling off. Drive through the outer burbs and it feels eerie. Rows of pristine, identical houses, all waiting for families who never came. A local builder joked, "We overbuilt for people who don't exist." Realtors are sweating harder than the asphalt, and you can almost feel the heat shimmering off the for sale signs. A mirage of a boom that came and went. Dallas went big, but buyers went home. And if Dallas can't sell despite all that growth, wait till you see San Antonio. San Antonio, Texas. Prices tank as demand dies. San Antonio used to ride Austin's coattails. Come for the Riverwalk, stay for the cheaper mortgage. But the parade's over. Home sales dropped 60%, and that's not a typo. The median price sits around $320,000, down nearly 35% from its peak. Rent's holding at $1,500, but landlords are tossing in free months like it's Black Friday. Locals jokes, we're affordable again because no one's buying. Realtors? Not laughing. The open houses are open, just to the wind. Step outside in the evening, the air hums with cicadas. The streets are calm, and for sale signs lean tired in the sun, collecting dust like old souvenirs from the boom. The tacos are still unbeatable though, even if offers aren't. And if San Antonio's just crawling, wait till you see Columbus, where the market didn't just slow, it stalled completely. Columbus, Ohio. Investor flight leaves empty flips. Columbus used to be the Midwest's quiet success story. Steady jobs, good schools, and houses that didn't need a second mortgage just to paint the porch. Then the hedge funds showed up, turned half the suburbs into flipping experiments, and ghosted faster than your high school crush. Prices crashed 45%, with the median now at $310,000. Rent hovers near $1,400, but vacancies are creeping up too. Locals are blunt. Flippers flipped out. The neighborhoods that once hummed with contractors now echo with silence and the faint whir of lawnmowers keeping up appearances. You walk past rows of tidy brick homes, for sale banners bleached by too many months of sun. A few open house balloons still dangle, deflated. Like the market. Too many coming soon signs, but nothing ever came. And if you think Columbus fell fast, wait till you see Portland's meltdown. It's pure West Coast chaos. Portland, Oregon. Rain, coffee, and quiet chaos. Portland is a city that smells like espresso and fresh rain, but the charm now comes with a side of caution. Median homes hovering around $350,000, down from $600,000, tell the story of a city in flux. Cost of living 124, crime nudging above average, population sliding. It's a place where even diehard fans pause before signing. Locals mutter, "It's beautiful, if you can dodge the boarded up windows." But dodging only goes so far. Empty streets and silent storefronts make the collapse impossible to ignore. Graffiti's up, equity's down. Craftsman homes sit on quiet blocks, half their former value, each with a story and some unsolicited street art. And if Portland's unraveling, wait till you see the next city where stability was just an illusion. Sacramento, California. Bay Area buyers stopped buying. Imagine $800,000 houses once hot enough to make San Francisco buyers drool, now groveling for $500,000 offers. Prices have plunged 35%, inventory has ballooned 70%, and the median home sits at $495,000. Rents hanging around $2,000, and the cost of living index is 125. So yeah, it's still pricey if you're counting avocado toast. Once a backup plan for the SF dream, Sacramento now looks like a ghost town. Lawns are brown, for sale signs sprout like weeds, and you can almost hear the sigh of disappointment drifting from empty open houses. Locals shrug. We built for people who never came. Traffic is still a headache, gas is $4, and somehow your sanity is included in the toll. And if Sacramento feels slow, wait till you see Atlanta's speed crash. Atlanta, Georgia. Rental bubble deflated overnight. Atlanta used to be all peach pies and promises of growth. Now $500,000 homes are renting for $1,700, and investors are sweating like it's a summer heat wave. Prices have dropped 40%, rents are down 15%, job growth is flat, and crime, well, it didn't get the memo. Walk down your street and half the houses are Airbnbs, and none of them are booked. Driveways have grass poking through like little green flags of neglect. The humid air makes everything stick, including your frustration. Even traffic seems to snicker at your attempts to escape it. Therapy session required. Atlanta's crash is a warning, but Raleigh takes the meltdown crown in tech-fueled mayhem. Raleigh, North Carolina. Tech slump hits housing. Raleigh, once the shining crown of the research triangle, now feels like a ghost of tech optimism. $700,000 tech salaries? Sure. $700,000 listings with no buyers? Also true. Prices are down 32%, the median home is $430,000, inventory has doubled, and layoffs are rising faster than startup hype. One ex-DevOps guy sighs, "We thought remote work was forever," while scrolling through homes nobody wants. Cul-de-sacs are full of Teslas with expired inspection stickers, a subtle reminder that even luxury can't escape stagnation. And yet, you're still paying Silicon Valley-level prices for Carolina humidity and road construction. Raleigh's tech slump is real, but if you think that's harsh, Minneapolis will show you what cold, harsh reality really feels like. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Harsh winters, harsh price cuts. In Minneapolis, houses sit frozen on the market longer than the lakes in January. Pandemic-era migrants headed south, leaving locals to stare at plummeting equity like it's an ice sculpture melting too fast. Median price is $350,000, down 40%, cost of living index at 102, rent around $1,400, and crime creeping up 18%. It's not the cold, it's the silence, a local jokes, while potholes big enough to need their own zip code swallow your tires. Frost clings to windows, and for sale signs lean under layers of snow, waving like tiny surrender flags. Minneapolis proves that even cities used to comebacks can't dodge a tumble. And if you think the snow's harsh here, wait till you see Detroit trying to dig itself out of its own mess. Detroit, Michigan. Even comeback cities aren't safe. In Detroit, you can buy a house for less than a used GM, and that tells you a lot about how far prices have fallen. Once celebrated as America's comeback mascot, the city now faces another steep slide. Median home prices have dropped 50% to $80,000. Rents sit around $1,000, and crime still runs 250% above the national average. Longtime residents shrug and say, "Every time we rise, something pulls the rug." It's easy to see why. Potholes swallow streets, auto plants stand empty, murals fade, and the faint echo of jazz drifts through alleys that remember Detroit at its peak. Even with all that history and heart, the recovery feels fragile, and if these drops make your stomach churn, brace yourself. The deep drops coming next make Detroit's struggles look like a warm-up. Seattle, Washington. Tech layoffs drain demand. Seattle used to hum with promise. Amazon logos on every corner, bidding wars hotter than your morning latte. Now, those big salaries are vanishing and the market's mood is turning gray. Median home prices have plunged 42% to around $770,000. Rents are down about 10%, and tech layoffs are hitting Amazon, Google, and Meta platforms like an unexpected thunderstorm. In fact, Amazon just announced cuts of about 14,000 corporate jobs globally, with over 2,300 of those in Washington state alone. Those aren't just numbers. They mean fewer cash-rich buyers, fewer open houses that spark bidding wars, and more hesitation at the checkout. Walk past what used to be a competitive open house and you'll see empty condos, cranes frozen mid-project, and neighbors whispering, "Our house went from 18 offers to 0. Even the rain seems judgmental, soaking your frustration while parking spots are still as rare as a unicorn in Pike Place Market. Seattle's skyline still glimmers, but the heartbeat of tech-driven demand is sputtering. Buyers are cautious, investors are sweating, and post-layoff ripple effects are already hitting local bars and cafes. If Seattle's quiet makes your pulse slow, brace yourself. LA's luxury market is next, and that tumble might be really fast. Los Angeles, California, luxury homes lose millions. Picture yourself cruising the hills of Bel Air, where even the palm trees look like they're dressed for a runway. Mansions are dropping $5 million like spare change in a fountain. From Bel Air to Burbank, the price tags have outlasted the buyers. Median home prices are down approximately 38%, settling around $910,000. Luxury sales have plunged 60%, and inventory has ballooned 80%. Here's the kicker. Once tight ultra-luxury markets, Bel Air, Holmby Hills, Malibu, are seeing closure rates fall to the 20 to 30% range. Most homes simply don't sell. End-user buyers, you know, the ones who's actually looking for a home instead of Instagram shots of pools, are holding on, but trophy estate buyers? Ghosts. Step into a glitzy open house and the contrast hits you. Silent halls, Range Rovers parked like museum pieces, chandeliers waiting for someone to snap a photo. "No one wants to flex when everyone's broke," mutters a weary agent. Coffee shops and juice bars, once buzzing with deal chatter, feel eerily empty. Tech layoffs, soaring taxes, and mortgage pain are tightening the squeeze. The California dream is still there, smog, sunsets, and all. But the wallets that fueled it, gone on hiatus. And if LA's slipping this hard, brace yourself. New York City is next, and its free fall is already starting. New York City, New York, the Zoran effect. You stroll past billionaire towers, and 70% of the lights are off. One of the world's most iconic skylines now looks like a low-budget film set. Foreign investors have vanished, locals are still priced out, and the condo scene feels frozen. In Manhattan, condo prices have dropped around 45%, rent hovers near $4,300, and vacancy rates are soaring. The plot thickens with Zoran Mamdani, the young politician whose rent freeze and tax reform plans rattled landlords and investors alike, sparking what analysts now call the Zoran effect. Landlords worry frozen rents will crush margins, while investors quietly scout sunnier states. Step inside one of these luxury towers, and the contrast hits you. Silent lobbies, hopeful palm leaf decor, Range Rovers parked like museum pieces. A resident mutters, "Feels like living in a luxury graveyard." Between rent freezes, tax hikes, and sky-high upkeep, even prime NYC real estate is groaning under the weight of its own glamour. And if New York's collapse seems dramatic, Florida's market is already leaning back with popcorn. Miami, Florida. Insurance crisis wrecks coastal real estate. You picture a $1 million condo with ocean views, but the insurance quote comes in at $10,000 and the buyer runs for the exit. Welcome to Miami, where the sunshine dream is being dimmed by storm clouds of fiscal reality. Median home prices have plunged 48% to around $570,000, premiums are up a blistering 300%, and foreclosures are quietly ticking upward. The state's insurance market is melting like a popsicle in July. Private carriers are fleeing. Active homeowner policies plunged by 78% over the last decade. Turn up the heat with this. The global real estate giant UBS just named Miami the world's most vulnerable real estate bubble. pointing not just at floundering prices, but also spiraling insurance and ownership costs. One condo owner shrugs, "One storm and we're bankrupt." Between soaring HOA fees, unreliable policies, and climate risk permanently on the radar, the vibe in Miami is less siesta bueno and more siesta over. Mosquitoes, they don't bite, they file paperwork. And if Miami's market feels like it's drowning, wait until you see what's happening in Arizona, because if water sinks you, heat evaporates you. Tucson, Arizona. Retiree haven turns into a buyer's trap. Tucson used to be the golden, sun-soaked dream. Golf carts, golf courses, and retirees sipping iced tea on patios. Now, those same golf communities are tossing in buy one lot, get one free just to lure buyers. Median home prices have fallen 50% to about $310,000. Rents sit around $1,200, and job growth has slipped 2%. "Half my neighbors moved back north," says a retiree, shading themselves from a sun that doesn't just bake the desert, it seems to bake your patience too. Streets that once hummed with shuffleboard and morning walks are quiet. Heat so dry your dreams crack, tumbleweeds wander freely, and cactus shadows stretch across empty patios. If Tucson feels like a mirage, brace yourself. Next come the ground zeros, cities where prices haven't just dropped, they've cratered, and the collapse is downright cinematic. Cape Coral, Florida. 60% crash, foreclosures flood in. You wake up to a dream Gulf Coast sunrise, but the reality hits harder than the tide. Houses that once flipped for $600,000 are now begging for $240,000, cheaper than a new Tesla, though ironically, Teslas are still cheaper than the insurance. Median home prices are down 60% to $285,000. Rents hover at $1,900. Insurance premiums are up 400%, and foreclosure filings have spiked 130%. This town was built for boaters and weekend dreamers, but now half the docks sit empty, rocking only gentle waves and the occasional pelican. One frustrated resident shrugs, "We're underwater, and not because of the canal." Mosquitoes? They don't bite, they charge HOA fees. Walk the sun-faded streets and you'll see ghostly for sale signs, canals reflecting empty houses, and cul-de-sacs that once buzzed with realtor energy, now eerily quiet. Even the palm trees seem to shrug. Cape Coral is a cautionary tale of boom gone bust. And if this sinking city has your attention, the next city's market is already submerged, and the waterline is creeping fast. Palm Bay, Florida. Builders vanish, projects abandoned. In Palm Bay, whole subdivisions sit half-finished, like the apocalypse had handed out construction permits. Streets are lined with empty lots, model homes collecting dust, and overgrown curbs creeping into what should have been sidewalks. Median home prices have fallen 55% to $260,000. Rents hover at $1,600, and unemployment sits at 6%. Dozens of developments are stalled, cranes frozen mid-air like forgotten sculptures. A local points at a coming soon sign still standing since 2022. "Yeah, still coming," they say with a shrug. Fire ants have claimed more land than investors, and faded flags flap over empty patios where dreams were supposed to rise. Once hyped as the next tech haven of the Space Coast, Palm Bay now feels like a cautionary tale of overambition. Streets echo in silence, and the promise of prosperity has evaporated. But if Palm Bay is unfinished, Fort Myers shows what happens when dreams collapse twice. Fort Myers, Florida. Rebuilding fatigue meets market freeze. Fort Myers has been hit with more plot twists than a beachfront soap opera. After Hurricane Ian leveled parts of the region in 2022, damaging over 30,000 homes in the metro area, what followed wasn't just recovery, it was a reckoning. Median home prices have plunged around 58% to about $320,000. Rents hover at $2,000, insurance premiums have skyrocketed 500%, and rebuild permits are strangled in red tape. One flood victim sighs, "We're tired of rebuilding the same house." Meanwhile, contractors are booking up until 2030, if they still return your calls. On the ground, half-painted new builds, piles of hurricane debris in front yards, and the lingering scent of salt water and sweat. The region's housing boom, once driven by pandemic migration and beachside fantasies, clashes now with climate-driven risk and cost blowouts. Unemployment's ticking up, demand's drying out, and what was supposed to be the Sunshine State's comeback is stalling under its own cost. And if Fort Myers feels cursed, keep watching. Las Vegas is already scripting its own sequel of boom, bust, and disbelief. Las Vegas, Nevada. Second crash deja vu. You know the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, not this time. Vegas has already gone through its epic crash in 2008. Prices plunged around 63%, and now it's staring at a sequel. Median home prices are down 50% to around $405,000. Rents hover near $1,800. Foreclosures are up 90%, and inventory is bursting at the seams. What's pushing the tilt? Tourism, Sin City's lifeline, is wobbling. Foreclosure filings in 2025 spiked, with Clark County seeing 1,290 default notices in the first half alone, an increase of 28%. Inventory? It's exploding. Homes for sale without offers are up over 70%. This isn't just a market cooldown, it's a reset. Buyers have the upper hand again. Homes that once flew off the shelf are now gathering dust. One local says, Riley, investors thought it'd be different this time. It's Vegas. It never is. And if Vegas feels like luck finally ran out, brace yourself. The number one in our list priced itself into a corner and is ready for round two. Honolulu, Hawaii. Paradise priced out, then wiped out. Honolulu used to be the ultimate escape. Ocean views, swaying palms, and a median home price around $1.1 million. Now, the median sits closer to $700,000, a 45% drop, while rent hovers near $3,200, and the cost of living index stretches to 180. The population has even slipped about 2%. What triggered the fall? Multiple culprits converged. A recent report from University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization found only 1 in 5 Hawaii households can now afford a median-priced home, down from 44% just a few years ago. Insurance premiums for condos jumped 300% plus in neighborhoods like Waikiki and Makiki Mo'iliili as building risks soared. Out-of-state and vacation rental investors snapped up 13% plus of homes as primary residences sat idle. Locals joke they're relocating to Vegas, irony fully achieved. Groceries now cost more than some rents, pineapples practically need loans, and the beaches are quieter than ever. The city feels frozen in a postcard photo, but the market's turning into a cautionary tale. And that's the end of the line, where the American dream hits the ocean and sinks. America's housing dream didn't just cool, it cracked, split, and in some cities sank faster than a Vegas chip stack. From Miami's insurance nightmares to Honolulu's overpriced paradise, these collapses show that even the hottest markets aren't immune to reality. You've seen the empty streets, stalled projects, and homes begging for buyers. They're all reminders that rising prices and high demand can vanish overnight when economics, policy, and climate collide. Would you dare invest in any of these cities, or are you sitting this one out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next crash is always closer than you think.